Hi guys, this is Nikki, you also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching the awesome 10x live market update for the Philippines. It's October 27, 2020, and let's begin. What I'm happy about is actually the move of SSI. SSI went up 12.8%, and yours truly has been discussing that SSI, in my view, had the leeway to actually surprise to as high as 2 peso for the Philippines. And we finally saw SSI break out with some good volume. It broke above that 128, and I'm seeing that it can go 168 and 2 pesos perhaps in the next 6 months. As to the catalyst why SSI went up, personally, I don't think there was a clear news or anything. There wasn't any news on SSI except the fact that actually I believe that the market finally felt that this consolidation from March till September, given the fact that SSI store specialists, as we said, had three things going good for it. We said that they were doing e-commerce, which was okay. They were closing down their existing stores. Remember that they were doing that for the last 2 to 3 years already. And SSI was also doing a lot of food in terms of Shake Shack, introducing Shake Shack Philippines, and also adding Crystal Jade Kitchen. So, in my view, as well as the Shake Shack Philippines Salad Stop. So, in my view, the company is vastly undervalued at about 1 peso, and it's probably the reason why SSI went up. In my view, the company was undervalued, and the market is looking for bargains that they could make 100% from. Chances are the market finally agreed with our pick, which is SSI. SSI was a company that we have been pitching, and you can actually see it in your Awesome 10x. I'm going to show that to you. SSI, Awesome 10x. Let's go to the videos. Is SSI a strong secular investment? This was a video I've done last month. And then I also shared, if you are watching my channel mostly every day, you'll notice that I mentioned Nicolaitia at 1.8. I mentioned Asen at about 220, 235. And I actually pitched that yes, Cebu Pacific at about 40 pesos is a potential value for the people who are looking for a reopening play. Today's price of about 39 pesos for Cebu Pacific is actually in your buying zone. So just like how we think about when BDO was trading at about 87 and we knew that 95 and 100 would have some resistances, we view that SSI here at about 115 and below was really a potential support, and today was the first day that the market agreed that this was a breakout. You've got the breakout and you've got the volume. I'm happy to say that SSI, in my view, has a leeway to become a strong. So I actually felt that it had a strong secular reason to be a winner, and that reason is likely because of their e-commerce foray. So I think more news on SSI, aka Store Specialist Inc. You need to know more about how they transition the Shake Shack Philippines. You need to know how they transition their own global company from selling Zara on brick and mortar to selling Zara online. You've got Rustans online. So we have been seeing that Rustans have really done as much as possible this online shopping. And I've been seeing potentially that they are really transitioning their company, pivoting it to a world, well, maybe not world class, but at least good for the Filipinos to actually have that option to order their Zara online with Rustan. So I really believe that is a good move for SSI. And I'm happy for that breakout today. And that is something that I am personally in agreement with. Now, for the top traded, you could see that the market is in the red. You could see that Converge fell down from 15, additional 10% to as low as 13.2 today. A lot of people are asking, Nikki, what do you think about Converge? I'll answer that to you later, but let me just show to you the market. After 5 consecutive days of uptick in the Philippine market, yesterday we already saw a temporary stalling at the 6.6 level, and today confirmed that indeed that 6.6 is really a potential resistance that we actually got confirmation today. You are seeing that PSEI indeed had a confirmation selling area here at about 6665. And so that was rejected, and today was the first sign of that sell off from 65 to 64. And of course, the primary candidates for that selling off would be your typical index name. So PSEI, let's begin with all the biggest ones. Take a look at your SM, having a hard time at the 1,000 level. Take a look at your AC, having a hard time at that 800 peso level. Nonetheless, we do think that this 725 below is really a strong support. So you're just seeing a tug of war, most likely a consolidation before we continue higher. Ayala Land, you are seeing that there are some temporary resistances at 34. So still holding on, but there will be resistances at 36 and 38. Same for SM Prime. Take note that they're both holding that 34 area, but 33.50 for SM Prime, but there will be resistances at 36 and 38. Do understand that this is not us calling the top, but we are just seeing resistances as really strong stopovers before we actually go on and on higher. It's going to take time. Now, for your banks, let's take a look one by one. Yes, BPI has stalled at 75. Notice that it's doing a flag. And so if that's doing a flag, the chances are it goes to 80 and 85 sometime in the next 3 to 6 months. We don't know next week, but it's probably just a flag. Consider that these are your first line of resistances, and 80 pesos, 78 will still be a first line of resistance. Now for BDO, we saw the same thing. You've got resistances. Your resistance is actually as high as 100 and as high as 107, 111. So this drop, even at 91.90, even if it drops, I think that the drop will just be at 88. So not a big problem there. BDO, Metro Bank is at 42. So that also tells us that it is trying to hit that resistance at 42. It's gonna consolidate and most likely wait a bit and see if it goes 46, 48, 50. So still continuation for a leg higher. Same for your security bank. Conso, this is a flag for the next move higher. Let's take a look at your East West and PNB. So it has, this one is stronger. So most likely when the consolidation of your BDOs, your BPIs, your Metro banks go higher, chances are East West already is at 10.50 or 11 by then. So still a continuation uptrend for your East West. And also your PNB is just a flag mode here. We notice that all these flags are continuation. I see PNB hitting 32 and 34. Do note that we already mentioned this one. Is PNB gonna break 25? It was something that I put on the title. PNB, actually we said this, ASEF finally breaks out, gets recognized. PNB breaks 25. I put it on a title before. PNB is, will PNB trade above 25 pesos? We shared that a month ago. And so in my view, indeed, after that break of 25 pesos, we did say that PNB at 25 breakout is a confirmed resistance that is now your support. So that is your support at 25. And therefore, I do think that although there will be flags here and there, this is still on an uptrend. And this one will go as high as 35. This is your first resistance. You've got resistance at round numbers. Yes, 29, 30, 33, 32, 36, and then finally 40 and 44. But let's take it one step at a time. All we know is that this is already a reversal on the upside ever since the company said that they were going to sell prime real estate assets. From 20, can it go 40 pesos? I think it's all about time horizon. If you're going to wait it out, then the answer would be yes. So I am bullish on these names. So let's take a look at some of your properties. We mentioned that Ayala Land has risen, your SM Prime has risen. let's take a look at a slow mover, but still potentially already a consolidation on the upside. So your mega world already had a higher low at 282, already broke out of that 3 peso mark. So can it go 340 or 350? Awesome 10x thinks it's a yes. It is a yes. So today at 310, yes. I know that the Pogos are leaving the Philippines. I am aware of the lack of occupancy, so we don't really see this hitting 4 peso anytime soon. However, this company we also see is gonna have a resistance at 340. You should be able to see some buyers here at 3 pesos and 280 should this fall down. So we are seeing that this is low, but it is just a crawling up. Just as well as what's happening with AGI. Take note that AGI is a stronger move. AGI broke above your 750. As soon as it went up, it went as high as 850, 860. That was a clear breakout move. This is now consolidating. We do note that this consolidation will have a higher low here at about 750 or 780. And the next move higher is probably going to have resistance here as high as 950 or even as high as 10. So 9 to 10 is your next resistances for AGI. Do notice that this will consolidate and go higher. In my view, you've got 6 months to see it go higher. Not 6 days, but 6 months to a year. So that means that PSEI, I do agree. If you're going to ask me for next year, what's going to happen in PSEI 2021, barring any potential Typhoon Quintana problems, I do think that this one at 6,000 is due to go to 7,000 at the very least. So at the very least, we are going to see 7,000. It's going to be a slow climb. Don't think about it being fast. Nonetheless, any drops here at about 6.2, I think would already be consolidation on the upside. What does that mean? Your BDOs at 92 today could actually be bought by some people who don't have BDO, even if it can go 88. It also means that for your reopening place, your Jollibees here at about this one is consolidating. This is, of course, a strong breakout. We mentioned Jollibee a long time to be a great, awesome 10x buy. And of course, it's not a 10x. Let me just discuss that. In the US, I do think that you could make 10x, meaning 1,000% moves. But I'm gonna be critical that the Philippines does not have as many 10x opportunities. Nonetheless, can you make 1x? Yes. The answer in my view is you can make an awesome 1x in the Philippine market. How can you do that? Of course, you had to buy here at about 100. Can Jollibee go to 200? The answer in my view is yes. It looks like it's going to be hard to see it hitting 200 anytime in the short term. You've got these resistances at 185. But if you're going to wait till next year, I do think that you're going to see this back from 185 to 210. Any drops of Jollibee is going to be supported here at about 170 all the way to 160 or even as low as 150. Today's price of 173 looks to be a typical flag. So this is a flag. What you'll notice is that for those who aren't aware of technical analysis, a flag is just a continuation pause. It means that people who got in low are just profit taking. That profit taking could lead to about 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and then eventually go back up, resume the uptrend to as high as 180 to 200 to 220. It's going to take time. It could take about December or even January or February or March. But the important thing is that this is a real breakout from about 90 to 150. You are seeing a 60 peso range, so the minimum is 210. The minimum is in the next 6 months from March to, it took about 6 months. March to October, that took about 7 months. So let's give it from 10 plus 7. That's gonna give you at least around May 2021 to see this rally to as high as 215. Nonetheless, if you're going to make 20% in the next 6 months or even 30%, thus making money from Jollibee sound attractive to you? The answer in my view is yes. So any drops here from about 173, so let's say you bought today at 173, you buy more at 165, you buy more even as it goes to 150. Any drops there are all buying opportunities. It's very difficult to buy a strong name lower, as you well know, any breakouts are actually being bought by the market. Now, in the restaurant sector, Jollibee is not the only one. Maxis is also consolidating. You could see that from five, we were saying that yes, this was a consolidation that had value for the Filipinos. You know that Maxis owns Krispy Kreme, Yellow Cab, companies that we are all in love with, Pancake House. So these are companies that will deliver that revenues and that income come next year. So it's not really a loss forever. Yes, they've lost money this year, just like most all restaurants are, but this is, of course, a breakout, and the continuation can go as high as 7. Do note that these are potential outperformers. Those who can see this going in the next 5 years can see this going as high as 10 or even as high as 12. So these companies are not to be seen as a really dead company. I don't think so. This is actually a strong buying area at 5. And this 576 is going to go higher to about 650. And then eventually it's going to take a long while. But in the next 2 to 3 years, I do think it's going to 9 and 12. So just estimate your potential reward and your risk. Why am I saying this? Because I've already seen how restaurants across the world have gone up. Let me repeat. Your Shake Shack abroad is actually slower than McDonald's, but it has recovered from 28 to 70 bucks. Your SSI, which I was saying was a buy at 115, take note at the comparables abroad, your Farfetch is already from 6 to 28. Your it just tells you that yes, US is faster in terms of recovering. It means that the US is already pricing it that the world is recovering in the next 1 to 2 years. Take note, even airlines, your Delta Airlines has rallied from 20 to 32. It's lower, I agree, but it is still a higher low. That means that for your Philippines, your Cebu Pacific, you shouldn't worry about this 39. We advocated buying 36, 37, and we continue to buy as long as it's 40 below. Do accumulate Cebu Pacific for a free trip to Japan or a free trip to USA or a free trip to Palawan, wherever you want to travel in the next 5 years. This is the best way for you to get a buy one, take one option. Buy 40 peso below for your Cebu Pacific. Sell it at 54 if you want. Sell it at 75 with if you believe that, of course, we believe that the Philippine tourism is not out of the picture forever. It is out cyclical. Yes, all airlines are consumer cyclicals, but it's not out forever. I'm going to show to you that even non-essential companies in abroad are actually breaking out, like Funko here broke out. Who's buying toys when you need money? Apparently, the market believes that after consolidating for quite a long while, Funko deserves, even as a non-essential retailer, to actually be bought. And so it broke out of that 6 peso, 650 level, sorry, $6.50 level, showing to you that indeed, if there's value in the world, there is value to be bought. Is Max's value? The answer to in my view is yes. Is SSI value? The answer to me is yes. Is PNB value? The answer to me is yes. Now, is Philinvest land here at about 97 cents value? We have been opining that Philinvest land here at about 92, 90 cents, as low as 97, even at today's level, is still a buying area. Why? Because this company gives 6 centavos cash dividend every year. It pays you 3 cents this November 11. It will pay you on December 11. It also paid you last quarter here, July 7, ex date, paid on August 5. So Philinvest may not be the best suitable company for you, but if you are looking for dividends, it's not that great, really, really huge dividends, but because the price is down to 97 cents, it actually gives you a high 6% yield. Now, for some people, a 5 to 6% yield is very high already. And so this is the reason why, even if I know that the resistance is here at 150, and even if we know there is some temporary resistance at 1 peso and 9 cents, eventually, guys, making 50% on Philinvest land does sound attractive for the next 1 to 2 years. So, in fact, if it just takes you 1 year to make 50%, Wouldn't you take it? And my answer, of course, in the Awesome 10X is yes, it is a buy. Now, today, Apex Mining rallied. For those who aren't aware, of course, Recto Bank owns Monte Oro APX owns 30% of that SC72. So that Reed Bank, that Recto Bank, so Apex Mining also earns from there. That is the reason why it went from 150 to as high as 240. That is a typical gap up move that just got profit taken from, because that is almost 70%, right, on the way up. Now, how do you estimate the drop? We said that the drop would probably be very little. If you buy at 2 peso, you probably have only a risk of 160 or just a 20% drop. In fact, it only dropped to 180. So, in my view, Apex Mining is actually being bought here at 180. Your previous resistance has become your support, and today was actually a confirmation that indeed this 178 was a buying area. How high does Apex Mining go? You've got an initial resistance here at about 230. You've got initial resistance here at about 2 and 220. Typical that every 10, 20%, you've got some resistances. But wait, guys, you can see that the long-term uptrend of Apex is really on the way up, right? So you've got, I remember we bought here at about 135, somewhere here, 135. This was 135. And then we also were saying that here at about 130 plus, yeah, because it was the time when gold was going up. Initially, we were buying Apex because of gold. It went as high as 170. Gold actually went as high from 17 to as high as $2,050. Gold is still consolidating, so it's just in the nowhere zone, which was why we thought initially that Apex was just going to be nowhere. It's going to be just here at about 170 area, not knowing that kaboom, Apex Mining was a beneficiary of PXP, Philex Petroleum. So consider the fact that Philex Petroleum, of course, is consolidating here. If Philex Petroleum goes here to about 12, 13, 14, then you can see Philex Mining, Apex Mining also profiting from there. Same for your Atok Big Wedge, which went from 7 to as high as 17 and then fell down to 9. Some people might be accumulating here at 9 peso for that time to sell at 11, 12, 13, 15, and so forth. So I do think that there is that mechanism of players. You could see the volume has been there. And yeah, there is that potential movement in that space, in that sphere. With GT Cap, I'll also discuss. I said that amongst your large cap conglomerates, while SM and AC are typically the leaders already, we said that GT Cap actually at about 400 and 380 was an accumulation zone, and we were correct. When the market finally recovered, GT Cap went up. Where will GT Cap go? Take note that GT Cap is seen as a laggard by the market because GT Cap still owns a significant amount of banks, which is Metro Bank, and Metro Bank is at 42. Yes, Metro Bank went from 32 to 42, which would leeway for GT Cap to also rise from 380 to maybe 480. This is the reason why we think that 380, 400 were buys. This is a consolidation for GT Cap, 438, 435, and we think that this goes 480 and goes 540. When will it go to 700? Only when the market sees that the market is already reopened. At that point in time, most likely when GT Cap is at 600, 700, most likely you'd have seen AGI also trading at 9 to 10 pesos. And most likely you have been seeing that PSEI by then would already be trading at 7,000 to as high as 7,400. Is buying at 6,400 going to give you reward? If you're buying index names, I do think you're going to get 10% rewards. But if you're buying, say, companies that are perfect reopening plays, you'll make 30% or 25 or 50%. Which are the reopening picks that we think? Cebu Pacific 39, you're going to hit it at about 54. I know nobody is flying, but eventually they will. I know that Macro Asia is a reopening tourism play as well. So here at about 5 pesos, it can rally to 6 and 7. You'll make about 40%. So, yeah, let me now check your questions, if any. For nickel and FNI, the thing about these two names is that Nickel and FNI are rallying, of course, because of your Teslas. Nickel is a component of your electric vehicle battery storage. But take note that there are these resistances. You've got this resistance at 4 peso 20 cents for Nickel Asia. There is a resistance here at 4.39. Nonetheless, is it a trend that will continue to remain your friend? Yes. Take note that every time it consolidates, it just is a ruler. Where if this one goes 360, people will buy and then go up, go up, go up. So the trend is your friend. Same for your FNI. Trend is your friend. So yeah, so it's just there. Actually, even the likes of Mark even benefited, even if I'm not sure if they are supplying to any electric vehicle company in the world. With Nicolasia, we know that they are likely, because of Sumitomo, they're likely a partner of Tesla because Tesla needs a lot of nickel. And not just Tesla, but also Chinese and Japanese cars that will do electric vehicles as well. So, yeah. And then, of course, your Panasonics, your LG Chemicals, all of them need batteries, and all of the batteries, the lithium ion, would also need nickel. So 80% of them really need nickel. Sorry, 811. 80% of a storage battery today is lithium, and then 10% is nickel. The other 10% is cobalt, manganese, which is actually a very expensive commodity. So, yeah, now let me take a look at your questions, if any. Wait up. Let's take a look at your questions, comments. Mary Mark, okay, ma'am, FNI and nickel, I already answered that FNI and nickel, you've got an uptrend, so it's just really a moving average thing for FNI and nickel. Pure gold, I see resistance at about 44 to 47. Nonetheless, you've got a strong support at 42. I even thought that you could even enter at 38, but no. So pure gold at 42 below, you've got a lot of supporters there. AGI and now, what are your thoughts? AGI, I think, is very strong at $7.58, 8 peso, 8.20. I think it's going to go 9 to 10. Now, of course, you have to think about the next 6 months. I agree that AGI will have a problem with Mega World because all your properties have a problem. Not just SM Prime, not just Ayala Land, not just Robinson's Land. All of the properties not listed are also having a hard time getting rentals. Occupancy, the vacancies are all very much high. There's nobody working in the office. Everyone is working at home. So you will have less and less demand as well as that POGO. And AGI is still 50% Mega World. So I think that AGI, however, has a lot of other companies. They also own Emperador. Liquor sales have been doing well on the pandemic. And so, yeah, so AGI is medyo stable in my view. Plus, you've got the buybacks. Now, Corp is restructuring. So now Corp is at 5 peso. It's trying to get some buyers at about 4 area. With Now Corp, the thing about this is that I think that it's just consolidating at this point. You might see it just consolidating. So after a strong move at 650, it's already a lower high at 550, and then most likely it's a consolidation. So I don't know how long this consolidation might take. Usually consolidation takes a month, 2 months, 3 months. Most likely it's just a waiting game for this restructuring. Oh, I forgot this. People were asking about PHR. PHR had volume, and then is it still trading? I'm not sure if there is a value traded for PHR. Let me just check. Because if it's not in the top traded, I rarely get to check it out. Wait. PHR, is it being traded? So there's no trades. So yeah, there's no trade. So I guess yeah, we cannot discuss something that is not being traded. Yeah, I should discuss Converge. I forgot to mention this. Sorry. Okay, for Converge, we know that a lot of the shares was actually sold by the market, especially by that private equity capital, which was Warburg Pincus. In the first 2 days, you've got a strong resistance at 16.8. It's still being sold down. When you see something like that, it doesn't give you any incentive to buy. In fact, I'm going to share to you that many saw abroad because all the retailers are very weak. You could see that retailers are 50% down, sometimes 70% down revenues. And I think the market saw that they will not overpay for a company if it's in the traditional dinosaur sector. I like Miniso, but I think that the market was right that it was sold down. I didn't buy it, of course. I was looking that maybe it will get sold down. The IPO was $20. It went 24. I think I can get it at 12 or even at $14. I'm gonna wait it out. With Converge, I took a look. Okay, this company is doing high growth. But the thing is, when it comes to high growth, I've been because I look at about 5G plays all around the world. When Converge was being discussed, I actually bought Ericsson. Really, I bought Ericsson and Nokia. My studies pointed to me that these are the companies that would benefit in the 5G trend. In fact, in the Philippines, if you really study your entire fundamentals, who's the supplier of smart 5G? The answer would be Ericsson. So in my view, there will be a competition happening between, of course, your PLDT, your Globe, your Converge, your Now Corp. So your Dito Telecom. So you've got a lot of competition. There is a strong growth in Converge because it started small. From 200,000 households to 2 million, it's easy to times 10 because you're talking about a small base. Now, the point is, PLDT subscribers, broadband, are competitive. And of course, they are going to be hurt with this new competition. It's good for Filipinos, actually, because if I have better internet, if I can have two or three providers, I will. So I think most typical businesses are already growing in the digital transformation age, whether it be esports, whether it be gaming, whether it be just the fact that your business is online. You really need a global, or at least in the Philippines, a great infrastructure digital in that would deliver you that great broadband speeds, whether it be mobile. So in my view, the biggest movement in the 5G would be on the mobile phone, because typically all the households in the Philippines, whether they're doing YouTube, I noticed that the highest penetration rate really is the mobile smartphone. So I do think that there is a secular trend, but I will not play. I don't want to pay any price. I took a look that here in you, if you look at the market cap, in the market caps, of course, everyone said that P/E ratio, la la la. I really don't look at P/E ratio when it comes to companies that are growing, because that earnings, I couldn't care less. It should be actually losing money. Why? Because they're growing. They have to spend a lot of capex. They're spending about 10 billion pesos of the IPO proceeds of 30 billion because Dennis Oy and Warburg Pincus took out their money. That means 30% of the IPO proceeds was done for expansion. That expansion will result in about 1 to 2 years of better connection in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Metro Manila kasi siya ngayon, right? So, I mean, I see it more as a growth play. I don't have a position yet. I don't have a position on Converge. The reason being, I just find 5G plays. So, like, I'll tell you what. Look, it's not about Converge. I don't even have PLDT and Globe unless you force me to own Philippine stocks. Like, my entire portfolio is global. Most of it, 80% really is global. The only 20% that I have in the Philippines is too small to matter. Nonetheless, yeah, so can I make about 10-20% on Converge? Maybe. Uh, do know that if you can make 20% on Converge, it might even be 40-50% in the long run. So I'm not bearish on it long run. In the short term, people will guess whether did people really connect more households to Converge. I'm gonna have to wait it out. Do households express a want? I think, yeah, the answer is yes, but there are like 5 players. So I don't know if people are switching to Converge, and if they do, then we have to see a buying area for them. Mary Mart, the answer for me for Mary Mart is that Mary Mart is quite a startup in comparison to Pure Gold, Robinson's Retail, and SM Retail. And I typically really don't want to, I want to invest in companies that I could actually have and hold. Marimar to me is more of a trade. So there will be a resistance at 330. There will be a resistance at 340, 360. So it should behave like all trading names. It has to be volatile. Marimart has to be volatile because they carry more risk from a business perspective because they are fighting incumbents. Take note, Converge is fighting incumbents. You may hate PLDT, you may hate Globe, but at the end of the day, they are incumbents. Disruptors, yes, we do believe in disruption, but that disruption has to be executed with numbers. Yes, the numbers already showing that people love Converge, but did Mary Mart show that there is a strong growth? If they do, then yes. But I think so far I haven't seen that great growth so far. Plus, I don't know what will happen after the pandemic. So, there's a lot of things that has to be thought about. Kasi there's so many values in the Philippines. Like I said, SSI, diba? You can make 100% on SSI. I think that Maxes, you can. So Mrs. G and SSI is looking better than last time. Yeah, Mrs. G, the problem with Mrs. G, value is there, but I don't see execution. I need them to show us that Visayas, Mindanao sales are picking up because SSI showed numbers. In fairness, if you take a look at the earnings of SSI, they were narrowing the losses. They were actually growing revenues. CHP po, what's the insight? Cemex is not making money, so that already tells me that I don't even want to touch it. Yes, I know it went from, I think, 1 peso to 170 cents, but I really don't care. I really, you know what? I really have very little, I don't have much plans whenever I look at companies in the Philippines. If it's not something that is valuable to me, even if people will trade it, I really don't care. What do you think about Green? What is his plan to build a 400-hectare smart city? Some brokers mentioned that Greenergy plans of acquiring additional 500 hectares to make it 900 hectares, 4 times of BGC. These are plans. I don't know if that plan will be executed. Why will I think about buying 500 to 900 hectares? That's a lot of money. Do you know how much a 1 hectare is? 1 hectare is 10,000 square meters. And if you're talking about Bonifacio Global City, isn't Bonifacio Global City already by Mega World? I mean, Mega World has McKinley. Mega World already has buildings there. I'm not sure about this plan because if I'm really bullish on Bonifacio Global City, I will just buy Mega World at 3 pesos. Can you explain the case of PHR since it is a follow-on offering and it is priced lower compared to its current price in the market? How will it behave on the listing date? So here's the problem with secondary offerings. What you know is that somebody has 1 peso 68. If it opens at 3 pesos, they can sell it to you and take profit. So the choice on follow-on offerings is how high can it maintain? Can it maintain 2 pesos? Can it maintain 3 pesos? I do not know the answer to that question. I really need the market to tell me. Just as I was telling you with Converge, I'm bullish on it long-term for the Filipinos. But when people ask me about the IPO, I said that I don't know much about it. Will people pay expensively for this company? Yes, it is high growth, but I don't know if they want to pay for that, given that the Philippine valuation alone, you've got a lot of Philippine companies that are cheap. Cheap for a reason, I know, because it's not digitally transformed. You know that the Philippines is still a lethargic dinosaur when you compare this worldwide. Nonetheless, is it a right thing to invest in a company that's doing like the same pace of innovation when it comes to broadband connectivity? The answer will be yes. With FOOs of PHR, I think that I really don't know their plans. Dennis Uy has so many plans in Clark City. Am I bullish on Clark? The answer is yes. And that is okay to do through what? Yes, you can probably buy through PHR. And you can actually buy it in existing properties today that has stakes in Clark, which is FLI, Philinvest Land. So if you think about it, there's a lot of insights in what's happening in the world. These are speculative in the sense that it's still a plan. They're still planning to buy. They're still doing this. Whereas with Mega World, what's the plan? It's already there. The building is there. The only plan is how many Filipinos or how many foreign multinational companies will stay there given that the POGO left. Diba? I think that it's easier to invest in companies that are already there, the buildings are there, and you can buy it already at 50% discount, di ba? So parang yun. So it's kind of like that. I don't know much insights about the plans, di ba? So you just have to really watch and read what their plans are. VLL, any thought? Well, Vista Land is also a Cavite land. Vista Land is some property as well. So we are aware that all the properties, guys, are having a hard time. Maybe the sales are 50% down, and so this is consolidating here. It's not 7 pesos anymore, it is 3 peso 44 cents. Is it gonna be bought? I think the market will eventually buy it. Yes. But the question is, my money is limited. Assuming that I only have a few picks, right? So will I choose Mega World at 3, or will I choose Vista Land at 3.44? Or will I choose, like in the past, Ayala Land was trading at 29, 28, right? So I think the market already is saying that I know that the properties are bad. I know that the restaurants are bad. I know that the airlines are bad, but I will do this. I will do this. You have to think what the market is also thinking. Manila Water at 14, steady lang. Home 6.6, di ba? So home is just really it's related to home construction. So Vista Land is doing that all home to compare with Wilcon. Wilcon did well. So home is also trying to beat them there. So they are trying to disrupt Wilcon's business. Wilcon is the number one there. But will home be able to flourish? My answer would be long term, yes. What's Angelo for Rincula? PHR floor price 30% from the top. I really don't try to understand what the market thinks, no. So any idea of the stock rights offering of ASEN? So here's what so I'm gonna this is gonna be my last answer because it's already 40 minutes. But all stock rights offerings are the same reason. They need to raise money. So I don't know the pricing that stock rights offering of ASEN will do. It can create a discount because all stock rights are discounts. Will it be discounted at 3 pesos, like 2 peso 50 cents, 2.37? It will create that discount. So I don't know the pricing. It will scare people. So if you are already too ahead of ASEN, diba, 235 to 390, you're already up 50%. You can sell half so that you don't have to worry. Baka mamaya mag 3 pesos siya, diba? But if it goes 3 pesos, what will you do? Would you sell it? Honestly, you might want to buy it because ASEN is your renewable energy potentially in Southeast Asia. They're ambitious as well. I'm not sure if that ambition will become really true, but Ayala is an Ayala company. They didn't start from zero. They had built Ayala Land in the Philippines. They've built Manila Water, not just in the Philippines, but also in Vietnam. Actually, I forgot to answer. You asked me a while ago, Manila Water. Manila Water is all over the world, not just in the Philippines. So do I like the company management? The answer is yes. Do I understand the risk when I invest in ASEN? The answer should be yes. Just because it's 390 doesn't mean that it will not go to $3. You make an SRO, it creates that risk of a discount. I don't know how low that SRO will be. But I know it's a discount. It could be 10%, 20%, 30%. Hopefully it's not 50% lower, right? Or else your entire gain is already wiped out with an SRO. What other company did an SRO? Stock rights offering. PNB did the stock rights offering. 40 went to 20. What other company? Banks typically make stock rights offering. So yeah, so actually nakakaipit ang stock rights offering. So be careful on SRO. Thank you very much, guys, and thanks for asking questions. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.